Hey, welcome back to the Business Builders Podcast. You guys, this is episode number 2. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking a bit more about my story, my struggles, and how I overcame them. I want you to learn from my mistakes and my obstacles so that you don't have to go through the same thing. And as I promised in my first episode, I'm going to be cutting the fluff and getting straight to the good stuff. So let's get to it.
You've envisioned the idea. You've identified the opportunity nobody else could see. And you've decided you're going to turn your badass idea into your badass business. Let's crank that idea up to 11. This is the Rockstar Business Building Podcast. And here you'll get hashtag all the things related to running your business and your life as a creative entrepreneur. We're creative, passionate people, and together we'll cut the fluff and get straight to the good stuff with your host, photographer, coach, and educator, Kyle Goldie.
Now that you know a little bit about my background, I wanted to go more in depth with everything so that you can see my own struggles and how I overcame them. Because what I feel is the number one thing that separates most entrepreneurs and your own success is how well that you can overcome those perceived obstacles. Because you guys, it is exactly that. It's a perception, and only a perception. It's a perception because it's that thing that's getting in your way is really not in your way at all. There's ways around it. It might not be overnight to get around it, but you guys, there is a way around it. When I began my journey as a creative entrepreneur, it definitely was not filled with big things. It was a lot of nights on friends' couches, doing free projects to build my portfolio, racking up that debt on my credit cards, and guessing along the way. I did a lot of trial and error. And you guys, really, I did a lot of trial and error. And it's not something that I recommend that you do. If I could do it all over again, I would hire a coach on day one that had the life and the client list that I wanted. I wanted to learn from that person. That's the one thing that I wish that I did when I was just starting out. I would take that shortcut. But I did not do that. I learned everything the hard way, the long way, and the expensive way. But that's why I'm here on this podcast today and why I will be recording a lot more episodes in the future. I want this to essentially be a free audio workshop for everyone who listens in. I want to help give back and help every person who listens to find their own shortcut path. Because I started my own career in Seattle by hosting intimate creative workshops for photographers. I got my first few small clients and leveraged all of those things into bigger things by the word of mouth, social media visibility, and simply by networking my butt off. I spent countless hours researching companies that I wanted to work for. Countless hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours, guys. I compiled databases of thousands of companies and magazines and the people who worked there. I did all of this one by one. It took a super long time. And you know what? Every second of that was worth it because that was the first step necessary before contacting these clients that I wanted. But when I was still early on in my career, I didn't have that trust factor behind my brand. I was simply another person who could have filled that role. There was nothing quote unquote extra about me that made me stand out. So I could have either kept blending in with everyone else, or I could have done something to stand out. But I had absolutely no idea what to do. So I did what I know I could, and that was simply contacting them, getting my work in front of their face, and even writing handwritten cards and sending them in the regular mail. Because everyone these days sends an email, I wanted to do something that took a little bit of extra couple of minutes and pop something in the mail. And you know what? It worked. I got noticed. I got that attention that I was wanting to get from my brand. Yes, I didn't get responses from everyone right away, but my name started coming from the back of their mind towards the front. And that is all that mattered. I kept that up until I was all the way at the front of the brain, and I started getting some of those clients myself. So what I do from there, rinse and repeat. But during all this time though, I still didn't have a big bank account, because let's be real, it was a very small bank account. But I knew I wanted those big clients, and I was going to do absolutely everything I could to get them. So, what did I do? I did exactly that. I did everything that I could. I slept on friends' couches in cities that I couldn't afford a hotel room. I put even my gas on credit cards because there wasn't enough cash in my bank account. I saved every single penny that I could from previous work, and I learned how to live super cheaply. I remember at times that I even slept in my car because I even needed to attend meetings in other states or up in Canada, and I couldn't afford hotel rooms because my credit cards were maxed out, my friends were out of town, or they were super busy themselves. I didn't create excuses for myself. I just went out, took my few pennies, and had the meetings. And when I was at those meetings, I did not claim to make a lot of money or be super busy with a lot of high-end clients. I didn't make anything up. Everything was super authentic. I simply focused on the benefits and the results that I could give to that particular client for that particular project. And that in itself is what landed me work. Confidence in my ability, authentic discussions with the results that I could give them, and just having a great time with that client face to face. After all, clients do not care about you or your feelings. Because, I mean, really, guys, let's be honest here. What they do care about is the results that you can give them. So that's what I focused on and what I focus on until this very day. And that's what I want you guys to be focusing on as well. The results that you can give your clients. So on your websites, your portfolios, your social media, I want you guys to be focusing in on the results that you give your clients. But even though I started getting more paying clients early on in my career, they still weren't the dream clients that I wanted. And nearly all of those dream clients that I wanted were in major markets like Los Angeles, New York, and Miami, not in Seattle, where I lived then and live right now. So how the heck would I reach them back then, and how the heck could you reach them today? So that's why I'm also here telling more of my story. Because the same way that I did with my local clients, I'd research the company, I figured out who works there, and the positions that can hire people like me, do whatever it takes to find their contact info, usually like an email address, and then just simply get in touch. Because the more emails that I sent, the more responses I would ultimately get. Even if those responses were, not right now, keep in touch, I would do that. I would keep in touch. I would find them on Facebook. I'd find them on Instagram. I would engage with their content on a regular basis. If it was a commercial client, I'd find them on LinkedIn. I'd connect with them there. I would email them once a month just to check in. I did these sorts of follow-up programs to land high-end clients in the advertising, fashion, wedding, and editorial sides of the industry. I was able to get creative director contract jobs, manage million-dollar photo studios, and be the photo director for a multi-million-dollar fashion brand, and simply have a great time while doing it all. My photography itself was not better than the person next to me. But I was getting my work in front of the client, and the person next to me wasn't. That's why I was getting those clients and they weren't. I want the same thing for you. I want you to be putting in the extra time, the extra energy, and the extra effort into getting your work in front of your dream client so that you can have the same sort of results. Because in today's market, in today's economy, it can feel really saturated, but it's honestly not a matter of that. It's a matter of simply standing out and putting in the extra work to get in front of everyone else around you. It's a lot simpler than the old me made it out to be. It's really just simply putting in the extra effort. So I just kept at it. I kept reaching out. I kept landing meetings or phone calls or Skype video chats, and I ran it as a numbers game. Over time, my sales processes became easier. My brand started becoming more well-known, and that in turn made everything easier as well. But it's always a game of growth. The industry is always shifting. There's always turnover at the companies that you're wanting to work for. There's always something new to learn, always something new to implement. It never, ever, ever stops. If you stop, your business stops. And as a creative solopreneur, you must keep on top of everything because it's important not to get burned out in the process. There has been countless times where I've been burned out over the years. I've even thought about quitting multiple times over the years, but that's only because I wasn't treating my time as if it was valuable. Yes, I was counting my client work time as valuable, but my regular admin time and time being spent behind the scenes, I thought that was worth $0. I figured, you know what, I'm not getting this, $5,000 job or whatever it might have been. That's just a hypothetical number. But on the admin time, I figured, oh, I'm not working, so I might be worth $0 right now. That was my biggest mistake early on in my career. It wasn't until I started attributing a dollar number to my at-home office time that I really started to see how much time I was really wasting on non-revenue generating things. Things like editing photos, doing my own accounting and bookkeeping work, and other tasks that could be done by someone else if they knew the exact type of result that I wanted out of each of these things. Even my podcast intro and outro that you guys hear is done by someone else. Why? Because I didn't know how to do it, and I could pay someone else a few bucks on Fiverr.com to get it done for me. Saved time, guys, is saved money. Again, saved time is saved money. If you're plugging along like I did early in my career, I totally get how it can feel. You're worried about paying the bills, worried about finding that next job, and you're getting burned out in the meantime simply by spinning your wheels on things that are not revenue generating tasks. Trust me, I get it. I really, really do. I've been there, and I've been there for years early on in my career. Thankfully, I'm not in that stages anymore. Because guys, early on in my career, like I've said, I slept in my car. I was on friends' couches. I had maxed out credit cards. I did things the hard way, learned the long way, and I do not want any of those things for you. When you feel like some of these obstacles are getting in your way, or maybe you're even getting in your own way and self-sabotaging, take a step back. Do your best to take emotion out of it. Look at everything as objectively as you can. Look at the things that you feel are in your way and try not to become frustrated at those things. Instead, look at it like a challenge, a missing puzzle piece. Analyze it, then figure out how you can create a solution to it rather than harping on how frustrating that thing is and just complaining about it. Stop wasting so much time on the negative energies that result from obstacles and struggles. Instead, start putting that same energy into finding creative solutions and then acting on them. Because after all, you guys, it's those actions that will separate you from the crowd. So take a look inside of your own business and ask yourself, what is it that you can do today that will get you in front of your ideal client? Then take one step towards that. At the very least, you are now one step closer to landing that dream client of yours. Done is better than perfect. Imperfect action beats inaction every single time. You guys, again, done is better than perfect. Imperfect action beats inaction every single time. In the coming podcast episodes, I promise to keep delivering on awesome value. And if you are ever wanting something super specific on the podcast episodes, please feel free to email me anytime and suggest a topic. You never know that I might create something specific just for you and even give you a shout out. So head on over to kylegoldie.com and write me an email. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. This has been episode number 2. Super pumped that you're here and super pumped to see you on the next episode.
This has been the Rockstar Business Building Podcast. our weekly get-together of creative, passionate entrepreneurs. For more guidance on how to build the ultimate rockstar business, visit KyleGoldie.com. Sign up for his free newsletter and learn about his online coaching programs designed to crank your business up to 11.